Hello everyone, my name is Mohammed. I am a Java developer. I recently came up with this idea of creating a code generator which will generate Java record classes from existing Pojo classes. So this video is a short presentation of the tool, how you can add it and use it in your own Java project and all that. So what you are looking at here is just a very simple project, typical stuff we see with modules such as person, and it has few known attributes, all argument constructors, and then getters, setters, as you can see. So same thing here and here. Here we have a little bit of a particular pojo which extend another one and contains another pojo. So we will see in this specific case what will happen to the with our code generation tool, how it's gonna handle that complexity. Now we added this business logic here, which is nothing but it's just a display we do here. We don't do anything really special. So as you can see, all we do here is to display information from two existing Pojo objects, which are the parameters for this method right here, which we are calling from the main. So we will transform this method as you see it right here in order to show how we're gonna be, instead of using the Pojo object inside the of the method, we will be using instead the generated record object inside. But before that, the very first step for you to use our tool is to add it to your class path, to your project class path. So if you have a Maven project like this one, all you have to do is to go to your dependencies and then add our dependency, the tool dependency. And what this dependency really contains, I'm gonna show you here, is just a jar file, as you can see here, and it contains the most important element, which is the annotation, the generate record annotation. That's the annotation you're gonna be using inside your code so that the record class is generated with the same attribute as the Pojo class. Besides the annotation, of course, we have the annotation processor, which is actually the one doing the generation properly. All right, so let's say we want to rewrite, you see this business logic class here, we want to rewrite it and using record. So let's just, okay, so we have display, let's call it display with records. Just make it different. And here I'm gonna just copy paste these parameters and then see how I'm gonna be using them here. So if you want to use the record classes corresponding to each one of these parameters, all you will have to do here is, instead of using final, is just to use our annotation, the generic annotation. So what you have to do here is to add that annotation to every single one of the parameters you have in the method, and which ones you want to use, or which record versions you want to use in your code. If you don't want to use the record version of school, for example, you just leave it as it is, without the annotation. If you want to use final, it's all up to you, right? Anyways, everywhere where you put it is gonna generate the record class corresponding to the type or the class of the parameter you have there. Now, you might have seen with so many other existing tools on the market right now that we have this possibility of having the IDE not only generate the class that the tool is supposed to generate, but also you will immediately have access to the generated class inside the completion drop down of the IDE. For that to happen, you will need to develop a plugin for your IDE, which is what we haven't done yet. So far, we only generate the class and that's it. So because we don't have that functionality, as you can see, we cannot see the record corresponding to the pojos we want to work on. Now, the generate record annotation is a compile time annotation, which means for it to work, all you have to do is to just compile your project as soon as you add the annotation, and it will do what it does. The processor for that annotation will do its job. So Let's do just a compile here. All right, you have a little bit of output here that shows the amount of, or the list of the record that have been generated. And if you go to your auto completion, you can now see that we have indeed the person record generated. And also, if you look at school, you will see school record also is generated. Now let's go to the generated classes themselves and explain what really happened there. As soon as we run the compilation here, if you take a look here, this target here is our build folder. That's where all the output goes, and there is these generated sources folder where you will see this folder, and then the generated packages and classes from our tool. So that's where you will see that person record and no school record has been generated. But then you see, if we take a look at person record, you will see indeed it's a record according to the Java syntax. And here the list of the attributes for that record are exactly the same as the ones in the Podio, which are there, as you can see. And interestingly, what we did, besides the automatically generated canonical constructor, as they call it, we also added an additional constructor, which is the a one argument constructor taken in the Podio object that we are transforming into a record. So the idea here is just to recall the canonical constructor and pass in the data from the Podio object. So if you look at this, you will, okay, let's just go to the business logic. You will see that we will actually make use of that constructor like this. If we go to person record, let's say we do a new here. Here we will only add or pass in the Podio, and that's it. We don't have to worry about, the data is passed in directly, automatically like that to the constructor that we added. Same thing with the school record. And now we can just go ahead and let me call this something a bit different. Add this just to, now we're gonna see the difference here. Instead of calling the Podio, which is still accessible for us, we just delete all this and then call the record. And as you can see, we now have the getter, which follow the new syntax of record, Java records. And same thing here with the second, yeah, this one here, and you have the name. And that's it. This is how it looks like. Now your record class has been generated, so you just instantiate it by passing in the object you received as parameter. Same thing here, and now you have your record to be used in the rest of the program. All right, we're gonna test this, but okay, just before that, let's first test the original one, the display student info right here, just to confirm both are working. So the very first case with the Podio classes work as expected, as you can see here. Now let's say we want to run this instead here. Yeah, let's see what happens. Alright, so as you can see, the text I added here is right here, which confirms it's fine, and there has been any runtime exception or anything, and you can see also the data remain the same as the Podio data, just like we saw in the previous execution. So here we go. Alright, so this was how you will use the generate record annotation inside your methods definition besides the parameter. We also offer another way to use them, or to use that annotation, which is, let's say while creating your Podio classes, you were totally convinced that you always want to have everyone work on the record versions of those Podios, for example. So what you will do then will be to just add that annotation not on each parameter from each method, but on the class itself, on the Podio class itself when you create it. So we're gonna show this now, but before that, I wanna do something interesting. Let me just remove this. Let's say it doesn't really matter whether we use final or not, because we know we're gonna be using the record versions inside the method, so we don't need final. We can just leave it like that, So we leave the method as it is. We leave the, let's say I remove the generate record completely, and I'm gonna try something here. Let's delete this build folder which contains the generated classes. So let's delete it. So obviously what you're gonna have now is a compilation error saying, yeah, the class was not found. So now let's go to every single one of our podios and add the annotation there. All right, so going back to our business logic, of course, we still have errors because, as I mentioned from the beginning, we don't have a plugin yet, so you cannot expect an automatic build and the IDE updating itself. And so we will do what we did before, which is running a compilation. As you can see, this time we have the output saying we generated the three record classes. And once we go back to our, yeah, you see, when we go back to our business logic, as you can see, the compilation errors are all gone. All the record classes are all visible, present, and that's it. So now the method being called here, let's run it just to confirm. Here we go. So we have the same results. All right. So just a quick comment regarding as I mentioned from the beginning, there was this complex student type which extend another one and also has a school type inside. If you look at the generated record for this one, you will see we have, I'm gonna make it a bit big. We have indeed, okay, let me go back here first. We have the student Podio class extending another Podio class, which is the person Podio class, which means additionally to its own attribute, the student class also carries the attribute from the person class. Of course, I'm not talking about the deep rules of inheritance. I'm just here speaking strictly about podios. I'm really referring to classes with getters, setters. So by saying the student class is also carrying all parameters from the person class, I'm actually talking about those which are visibly uh, publicly visible to getters. So yes, let's suppose that all of them are. So that would mean the student class also has these two, which translate to these additional parameters here in the generated record class. As you can see, those two parameters are from the person. Now, besides those, we have the two parameters belonging to the student himself, and the parameter which is another Podio class is now also converted into a record class and now used here as a parameter of the record class generated for students instead of the Podio itself. And same thing here in the canonical constructor. As you can see, we made sure we are instantiating the record class of school, in this case, not school Podio, as you saw it in the Podio, and passing in the school Podio object here so that it can be made a record and be fully immutable. So that's just to show you how the tool is handling those recursive cases, we can call them, of object containing others or extending others. And so I think that's it. So this is the current stage of the project. It's in development. It's a work in progress, and feel free to leave any comments, suggestions, anything you have would be useful to continue working on this. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and bye.